Hi, viewers. I'm Linda Reinertz, Integrated Marketing Manager with Anritsu, and we are here with Danny Gonzalez for part 2 of our Anritsu Unplugged series. What new challenges will network administrators face when deploying 400G ZR and ZR Plus optics versus other 400G optical interconnects?
So, great question. I mean, as with all new technologies, when you're deploying them, you're always going to run into different challenges. And ZR and ZR Plus are no different. They have their share of challenges that network administrators face when they're deploying these new optics. First, what you have to look at when you're deploying 400 gig ZR and ZR Plus optics are the intercompatibility between optical vendors. So, although these optics all look alike, right, they're actually very different. And what I mean by that is there's a series of registers that are built into these optics. And these registers are programmed to perform different capabilities, right? So when a customer, when an engineer is deploying one of these 400 gig optics, they have to make sure that the two optics that are communicating with each other are compatible with one another. Now, the register themselves all follow another standard. It's called the Common Management Interface Specification, or CMIS, or CMIS, or CMIS, depending on how you pronounce it. And this makes vendors kind of all follow the same rules, right, when programming their optics. However, those same registers also allow for flexibility. So it gives vendors the ability to change different registers, provide different capabilities. It's not uncommon now to see many of these 400 gig ZR optics support ZR, ZR Plus, and OpenZR all in the same optic. It just depends on how you program it. So the challenge they face is, well, I may have two of them that look identical, but they may be speaking an entirely different language, right? They may look exactly alike, but they're actually performing two entirely different capabilities. So when deploying that, the first challenge is identifying what are the capabilities and how is my 400 gig ZR optic programmed so that we can make sure that I have two like-minded optics and they're able to intercommunicate with one another. Now, the second challenge has to do with the power requirements, because as I mentioned, these are 400 gig coherent optics that are traveling upwards north of 400 to 500 kilometers with amplification. That means they draw a significant amount of power. In some cases, you're seeing many of these optics coming out with, over 20 watts required per optic. So from a deployment perspective, right? You have engineers that have to worry about cooling, they have to worry about overheating, they have to worry about space. Now they have to worry about power. Am I providing enough power? Is it drawing too much power? Because once you plug these things in and you plug them in, and they start drawing the amount of power they need, you want to make sure that it's able to support the network application that they're trying to drive. So the final challenge that engineers are facing when they're deploying 400 gig ZR and ZR Plus has to do with forward error correction, or FEC efficiency. As I mentioned earlier, depending on the 400 gig ZR standard, uses different FEC methods. You have 400 gig ZR that uses CFEC. You've got ZR Plus and OpenZR Plus, which uses OFEC. Now, again, FEC is that power boost. It's what gets the signal across that fiber to its intended destination. It allows it to traverse that long distance through amplifiers in order to reach its destination. But not all 400 gig ZRs are created equal. In different manufacturers, depending on components and so on, you may not get the same forward error correction efficiency as you would with, let's say, another vendor or another optic. So one of the challenges that when deploying these 400 gig ZR, ZR Plus, OpenZR Plus, is to verify that forward error correction efficiency to ensure that you're able to get across the network and to your intended destination with the minimum amount of impact to your data.
Thank you so much, Danny. That was great information, and we really appreciate your insight. That was part 2 of our 3-part series with Danny Gonzalez, and we will have one more session with him all about key performance indicators to look for. So look for that one coming up next.